Welcome back to Quarantine Radio Theater's season finale, Alice in Wonderland. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Part 2.
It all started with Alice's curiosity about a white rabbit, who hopped by as she and her sister sat by the bank of a stream.
Oh dear, I shall be late.
Before she knew it, Alice was falling down what seemed to be a deep well, at the bottom of which, among other curious creatures, she met a mouse.
Oh, mine is a long and sad tale. Oh, woe is me.
And a caterpillar.
Keep your temper.
Outside a little house in the middle of a wood, she encountered a frog dressed in the livery of a footman.
I shall sit here on and off for days and days.
And inside the little house, a sneezing baby, a cook, and a very ugly duchess.
Speak roughly to your little boy, and beat him when he sneezes. Achoo!
She had rescued the sneezing baby from the fury of the cook, only to have the baby turn into a pig. And a moment later, a Cheshire cat had faded into existence on a limb above her.
Meow. That direction lives a hatter. That direction lives a March hare. Visit either, both are mad. Meow.
She had not gone much further before she came upon the house of the March Hare.
She's sure it is the right house because the chimneys are shaped like ears and the roof is thatched with fur.
There was a table set out under a tree in front of the house, and the March Hare and the Hatter were having tea at it.
A dormouse is sitting between them, fast asleep. The March Hare and the Hatter are using him as a cushion, resting their elbows. They aren't at all anxious to have Alice's company.
No room.
No room.
No room.
No room.
No room.
No room.
There's plenty of room, and I'm going to sit down. There.
Have some wine.
I don't see any wine, March Hare.
There isn't any.
Then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it.
Well, it wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited.
I didn't know it was your table. It's laid for a great many more than 3.
Your hair wants cutting.
Oh, you should learn not to make personal remarks, Hatter. It's very rude.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
I'm glad you're going to ask riddles. That'd be fun. But I believe I can guess that one.
Do you mean that you think you can find out the answer to it?
Exactly so.
Then you should say what you mean.
I do. At least I mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know.
Not the same thing a bit. Why, you might just well as say, I see what I eat is the same as I eat what I see.
You might just as well say that I like what I get is the same thing as I get what I like.
You might as well say that I breathe when I sleep is the same thing as I sleep when I breathe.
It is the same for you, Dormouse.
Oh, I must answer that riddle before they forget it. Now let me see. Why is a raven like a writing desk? A raven, writing desk. Raven, write...
What day of the month is it?
The, 4th.
This watch is 2 days wrong. I told you butter wouldn't suit the works.
It was the very best butter.
Yes, but some crumbs must have gotten in as well. You shouldn't have put it in with the bread knife.
But it was the best butter. Let me dip it in the tea. It might wash the crumbs out.
Oh, what a funny watch. It tells the day of the month and doesn't tell what o'clock it is.
Why should it? Does your watch tell you what year it is?
Of course not. But that's because it stays the same year for such a long time together.
Which is just the case with mine.
I don't quite understand you.
The dormouse is asleep again.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I heard everything you fellas said.
Have you guessed the riddle yet?
No, I give up. What's the answer?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Nor I.
I think you might do something better with the time than wasting it in asking riddles that have no answers.
Ah, if you knew time as well as I do, you wouldn't talk about wasting it. It's him.
I don't know what you mean.
Of course you don't. I dare say you never even spoke to time.
Perhaps not, but I know I have to beat time when I learn music.
Ah, that accounts for it. He won't stand beating. I know. He and I quarreled last March just before the March Hare went mad, you know. It was at the great concert given by the Queen of Hearts, and I had to sing. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder where you're at. You know the song, perhaps?
I've heard something like it.
It goes on, you know, in this way. Up above the world you fly, like a tea tray in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat.
Twinkle, 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 twinkle.
Be quiet, Dormouse.
Ouch! Stop pinching me.
Well, I'd hardly finished the first verse when the Queen bawled out, "He's murdering the time! Off with his head!"
How dreadfully savage.
And ever since that, he won't do a thing I ask. It's always 6 o'clock now.
Is that the reason so many tea things are put out here?
Yes, that's it. It's always tea time, and we've no time to wash the things in between the whiles.
Then you keep moving round, I suppose, from one seat to the next?
Exactly so, as the things get used up.
But what happens when you come to the beginning again?
Oh, take some more tea.
I've had nothing yet, so I can't take more.
You mean you can't take less? And it's very easy to take more than nothing.
Nobody asked your opinion.
Who's making personal remarks now?
Oh, you!
I want a clean cup. Let's move over one place.
But then you're the only one who gets a clean place. And I have to sit where the March Hare sat, and he's upset the milk jug into his plate.
We move only one seat over.
And if you don't like that,
you don't have to drink the tea you haven't yet had.
This piece of rudeness was more than Alice could bear. She got up in great disgust and walked off. The Dormouse fell asleep instantly, and neither of the others took the least notice of her going.
For they are now trying to shove the Dormouse into the teapot.
As Alice wandered on through the wood, she came suddenly upon a tree with a little door leading right into it. She was not in the least surprised, for she had come to expect anything in Wonderland. So she quickly opened the door and entered, to find herself at last among the bright flower beds and cool fountains of a beautiful garden.
The one she had first seen through the little door in the hall.
She had scarcely time to look about her when she heard the sounds of a procession approaching. It was the royal entourage of the King and Queen of Hearts, accompanied by their guests, the kings and queens of diamonds, spades, and clubs, with their soldiers and courtiers. When the procession came opposite to Alice, it stopped, and everybody looked at her as the Queen of Hearts spoke.
Who is this? How did she get in here? Speak, child. What's your name?
My name is Alice, so please, your majesty.
Alice?
What a curious name.
Why, they're only a pack of cards, after all. I needn't be afraid of them.
She has no business being Alice. Off with her head! Off with her!
Nonsense!
Consider, my dear, that she's only a child.
She has a head, King.
Oh, but my dear consort.
Mind your own.
Yes, my dear.
On with the procession. For the present, child, you may keep your head.
That's dreadfully kind of you.
The procession continued to the fountains in the center of the garden, while Alice looked about her vainly for some way of escape. But the Queen kept constantly by her side.
Have you seen the mock turtle yet?
No, I don't even know what a mock turtle is.
It's the thing mock turtle soup is made from.
I never saw one or heard of one.
Come on, then, and he shall tell you his story.
After a little walk, the Queen and Alice came upon a griffin lying fast asleep in the sun.
If you don't know what a griffin is, there's very little use in me telling you, for you wouldn't believe it anyway. He's sort of half lion, half eagle, half... I knew you wouldn't believe it. Up, lazy thing, and take this young lady to see the mock turtle, and to hear his story. I must go back and see for some executions I have ordered.
What fun!
What is the fun?
Why, she. It's all her fancy, that. They never execute nobody. Come on.
They had not gone far before they saw the mock turtle in the distance, sitting sad and lonely on a little ledge of rock. And as they came nearer, Alice could hear him sighing, as if his heart would break. She pitied him deeply.
What is his sorrow?
It's all his fancy, that. Ain't got no sorrow, you know. This here young lady, she wants to know your history, she do.
I'll tell her. Sit down, both of you, and don't speak a word till I've finished.
I don't see how he can ever finish if he doesn't begin.
Once I was a real turtle. When we were little, we went to school in the sea. The master was an old turtle. We used to call him Tortoise.
Why did you call him Tortoise if he was a turtle?
We called him Tortoise because he taught us. Really, you're very dull.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself for asking such a simple question. Drive on, old fellow. Don't be all day about it.
Yes, yes. We went to school in the sea, though you mayn't believe it.
I never said I didn't.
You did.
Hold your tongue, little girl.
Yes. We had the best of educations. In fact, we went to school every day.
I've been to day school too. What did you study?
Reeling and writhing, of course, to begin with. And then the different branches of arithmetic, ambition, distraction, uglification, and derision.
And what else had you to learn?
Well, there was mystery, ancient and modern, with seaography. Then drawing, The drawling master was an old conger eel that used to come once a week. He taught us drawling, stretching, and fainting in coils.
What was that like?
Well, I can't show it to you myself. I'm too stiff, and the griffin never learnt it.
At the time, I went to the classical master, though. He was an old crab, he was.
I never went to him. He taught laughing and grief, they used to say.
So he did, so he did.
And how many hours a day did you do lessons?
10 hours the first day, 9 the next, and so on.
What a curious plan.
That's the reason they're called lessons, because they lesson from day to day.
Then the 11th day must have been a holiday.
Of course it was.
And how did you manage on the 12th?
That's enough about lessons. Tell us something about the games now.
Huh? Oh, must I really?
Yes, you must.
Oh, all right. You may not have lived much under the sea.
Oh, I haven't.
And perhaps you were never even introduced to a lobster.
I once tasted one. Oh, no, never, never.
So you can have no idea what a delightful thing a lobster quadrille is.
No, indeed. What sort of a dance is it?
I first deform into a line along the seashore.
2 lines. Seals, turtles, salmon, and so on. Then, when you've cleared all the jellyfish out of the way,
It usually takes some time.
you advance twice.
Each with a lobster as a partner.
Of course. Advance twice, set to partners.
Change lobsters, and then retire in the same order.
Then, you throw
The lobsters
as far out to the sea as you can.
swim after them.
Turn a somersault in the sea,
Change lobsters again.
back to land again, and that's all there is to the first figure.
It must be a very pretty dance.
Yes. Would you like to see a little of it?
Oh, very much indeed.
Oh. Come, let's try the first figure, Griffin. We can do it without the lobsters, you know. Which shall I sing?
You sing. I've forgotten the words.
So they began solemnly dancing around and round Alice, every now and then treading on her toes when they passed too close, and waving their forepaws to mark the time, while the mock turtles sang.
Will you walk a little faster, said a whitey to a snail. There's a porpoise close beside us, and he's trending on my tail. See how eagerly the lobsters and the turtles all advance. They are waiting on the shingle. Will you come and join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, will you, won't you join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, will you, won't you join the dance?
Thank you. It's a very interesting dance to watch, and I do so like that curious song about the whiting. But if I'd been he, I'd have said to the porpoise, "Keep back, please. We don't want you with us."
They were obligated to have him with them. No wise fish would go anywhere without a porpoise.
Wouldn't it really?
Of course not. Why, if a fish came to me and told me he was going on a journey, I should say, with what porpoise?
Oh, don't you mean purpose?
I mean what I say.
Shall we try another figure of the lobster quadrille? Or would you like the mock turtle to sing you another song?
Oh, a song, please, if the Mock Turtle would be so kind.
No counting for taste. Sing a turtle soup, will you, old fellow?
Beautiful soup, so rich and green, waiting in a hot tureen. Who for such dainties...
Come on, it's time to go to the trial.
What trial?
Come on, come on.
And the Griffin grabbed Alice by the hand and hurried her off without waiting for the end of the Mock Turtle song. By the time Alice and the Griffin had arrived at the courtroom, a great crowd had assembled there. All sorts of little birds and beasts, as well as the whole pack of cards. The knave stood before the court in chains. White Rabbit, dressed in the livery of a herald, was near the throne where the King and Queen of Hearts were sitting.
The king is also the judge, by the way, and as he is wearing his crown over his wig, he does not look at all comfortable, and it certainly isn't becoming.
In the very middle of the court, on a table, was a large dish of tarts. It made Alice hungry to look at them.
I mean, how could I take the tarts? Tarts
Oh
right there.
my, oh, that's
Okay, let's see here. Capital,
yes, very
B,
good.
then there's this small one.
I wish they'd get the trial done and hand round the refreshments.
No chance of that. And tarts is what the trial's all about.
What are the jurors writing on their slates for? They can't have anything to put down yet before the trial's begun.
They're writing down the names for fear they shall forget them before the end of the trial.
Stupid things.
Stupid things. Stupid things. Stupid things. Very important.
Why, they're all writing stupid things on their slates. And look, several of them can't spell it correctly.
Silence in the court!
Harold, read the accusation.
The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts, all on a summer's day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts, and took them quite away.
Oh, yes. Consider your verdict, jury.
No, not yet, Your Majesty. There's a great deal to come before that.
Oh, all right. Call the first witness.
First witness, the Hatter, sometimes called Mad.
I beg your pardon, Your Majesty, for bringing my tea and bread and butter with me, but I hadn't quite finished when I was sent for.
Well, you ought to have finished. When did you begin?
14th of March, I think it was.
15th.
16th.
Write that down.
Yes,
I really think that's
Yes.
The jury is writing down all 3 dates on their slates. Now they add them up, and now they're reducing the answer to shillings and pence. Only all the answers are different.
Just at this moment, Alice felt a very curious sensation, which she recognized at once. She was beginning to grow again. She decided, however, to remain in the courtroom as long as there was room for her. However, the Dormouse, who was sitting next to her, objected at once.
I wish you wouldn't squeeze so. I can hardly breathe.
I can't help it. I'm growing.
You've got no right to grow here.
Don't talk nonsense. You're growing too.
Yes, but I grow at a reasonable rate, not in that ridiculous fashion.
The Hatter is so nervous under the gaze of the Queen that he shakes himself out of both his shoes, and in his confusion he bites a large piece out of his teacup instead of the bread and butter.
I'm a poor man, Your Majesty.
You're a very poor speaker, so I may as well have you executed on the spot.
Oh, geez, dear, another execution. Here we go, another one.
Oh,
my goodness.
I was going to
Execution. Yes,
I'd rather finish my tea.
Oh, yes, your tea. In that case, you may go.
Oh, yes, Your Majesty. I'm going.
And just take his head off outside.
Oh, yes. His head. Call the next witness.
Alice?
What? Me?
Yes, you.
Well, what do you know about this business, eh?
Nothing.
Nothing? Whatever?
Nothing whatever.
Oh, that's very important.
Unimportant, Your Majesty means, of course.
Unimportant. Of course, I meant. Unimportant. Oh, dear.
Important while we're here. I don't know. Seems very important to me.
Silence! I read from the rule book. Rule 42. All persons more than a mile high will have to leave the court.
I'm not a mile high.
Oh, yes, you are.
Nearly 2 miles high.
See?
Well, I shan't go at any rate. Besides, that's not a regular rule. You invented it just now.
Oh, it's the oldest rule in the book.
Then it ought to be number 1.
I consider the verdict.
No. There's more evidence to come yet, please, Your Majesty. This paper has just been picked up.
What's in it?
I haven't opened it yet, but it seems to be a letter written by the prisoner to, somebody.
Well, it must have been that, unless it was written to nobody, which isn't at all usual, you know.
Who is it directed to?
It isn't directed at all. In fact, there's nothing written on the outside. It's a letter, after all. It's a set of verses.
Are they, in the prisoner's handwriting?
No, they're not.
Well, he must have imitated somebody else's hand.
That proves his guilt. Go off with his head.
Yes.
It doesn't prove anything of the sort. Why, you don't even know what the verses are about.
Read them.
Where shall I begin, please, Your Majesty?
Begin at the beginning, and when you come to the end, stop.
They told me you had been to her, and mentioned me to him. She gave me a good character, but said I could not swim. He sent them word I had not gone, we know it to be true. If she should push the matter on, what would become of you? I gave her 1, they gave him 2. You gave us 3 or more. They all returned from him to you, though they were mine before. If I or she should chance to be involved in this affair, he trusts to you to set them free, exactly as we were. My notion was that you had been, before she had this fit, an obstacle that came between him and ourselves in it. Don't let him know she liked them best, for this must ever be a secret kept from all the rest between yourself and me. I think that's about enough, Your Majesty.
Oh, that's the most important piece of evidence we've heard yet. Let the jury consider.
I don't believe there's an atom of meaning in it.
If there's no meaning to it, Alice, that saves a world of trouble, you know, as we needn't try to find any. And yet I don't know. I seem to find some meaning here. Said I could not swim, and can't swim. Can you can't swim, can you, Knave?
Do I look like it?
He certainly doesn't, being made entirely of cardboard.
Well, all right. So far, now, continue. We know it to be true. Well, that's the jury, of course. If she should push the matter on, that must be the Queen. What would become of you? Yes, what indeed? Oh, I give her 1. They give him 2. Why, that must be what they did with the tarts, you know.
But it goes on. They all returned from him to you.
There they are.
And so they are. The tarts are on the table.
Nothing can be clearer than that. Before she had this fit, you never had fits, did you, my dear consort?
Never! Off with somebody's head, anybody's head!
The words don't fit you. Oh, that's a pun. Thank you. Well, let the jury consider their verdict.
No, sentence first, verdict afterwards.
Stuff and nonsense. The idea of having the sentence first.
Hold your tongue.
I won't.
Off with her head! But nobody moves, for Alice, who is now her full size and much too large for them to try to do anything about it, stands up, dumping the jury box and its occupants onto the courtroom floor.
Who cares for you? You're nothing but a pack of cards.
At this, the whole pack rose up into the air and came flying down upon her. She gave little screams, half of fright, half of anger, and tried to beat them off. Then she found herself lying on the bank with her head in the lap of her sister, who was gently brushing away some dead leaves that had fluttered down from the trees upon her face.
Wake up, Alice dear. Why, what a long sleep you've had.
Oh, sister, I've had such a curious dream. All about a white rabbit, and a mock turtle, and a mad hatter, and the Queen of Hearts, and a whole pack of cards.
You have been listening to Quarantine Radio Theater's presentation of Alice in Wonderland, featuring the vocal talents of Megan Knoll as Alice, Allison Beach as the sister and several other voices, Sean Chevalier Kelman as the first narrator, the cook, and the Queen of Hearts, Brian Kapler as the second narrator and the Lori, Megan Kolasaiki as the White Rabbit, the Eaglet, and the Mock Turtle, Kelly Hoagland as the Mouse, the Griffin, and the first juror, Bill Burke as the Caterpillar, the Fish, the Mad Hatter, and the second juror, Emily Schneider as the Dodo and the Dormouse, Andrew Richards as the Frog and the Knave of Hearts, Sherry Hawkins as the Duchess and the March Hare, Brant McCants as the Cheshire Cat and the King of Hearts, and introducing our contest winner, Kate Wright as the Duck. Quarantine Radio Theater is a collaborative effort uniting talented individuals from their homes. Using whatever recording means handy, we try to bring a little bit of entertainment to you, the listener, during these uncertain times. Thank you for joining us for our first season and in our season finale. Please visit our Facebook page and like and follow us. That way you can be brought up to date for when our second season comes available. Also, if you're a follower on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button there. And also hit that bell icon so you can be notified when our new shows are up and running. You can also catch up on some of the older shows or re-listen to some of the older ones on all of the podcast platforms out there, so please like and follow us on those. What an awesome show, everyone. Let's give a special thanks to Kate for being here.
Hey, Kate, good job. Thanks a lot. We really appreciate it.
Yay, thanks, Kate. I wish you brought pizza.
Thank you, Kate.
Thanks, Kate. We're so happy you were part of us.
Thanks, Kate.
Yes, thank you so much. You were amazing. Oh, you're so neat.
Thanks, Kate. You were awesome.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you all. I have had such a great time here.
All right, QRT gang, why don't you all finish up in here while Allison and I escort Miss Kate out?
I am so glad you were able to do the show with us.
Yes, it was such a pleasure to have you on this episode. We hope we'll be able to see you again.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. I never realized that to put on a show like this, you needed to have such a huge castle and cave network.
We find it cozy, and it has just the right amount of echo for some of our spooky shows.
Kate, before you go, as a token of our appreciation, we would like to present you with this charmed bracelet.
Thank you all so much. It's so pretty. I will wear it always to remember this show. Wait. Is that a duck? Oh, it's so cute. Come here, little duck. Come here.
I'll call her later to see if she's all right.
Oh, I see you're still wearing your bracelet.
What bracelet? You gave me this pretty puppy that, really needs a bath. Someone smells like he got into a fight with a skunk. Yes, he does. Let's go give you a bath.
Grant, why is Allison carrying a skunk?